Hello and welcome back to another art video. In this video we'll be working on the little green men. Um at this point, they were in like Fortnite or whatever, and I have one. So I see it very often and I do love the designs. I grew up on Toy Story as like one of the first VHS tapes that I had, Toy Story, The Lion King, etc. And I really enjoyed watching the heck out of that movie. So Um, I love the little green men. Obviously, they are, or the LGMs as they're called. They're so cute and they're funny. Um, Drawing them is really fun and kind of simple. Right now, I'm exploring a bunch of different ideas about how I want them to look, but a lot of these ideas are going to be changed. So it's very interesting. And yeah, they're really cute. They're like a little, like, obviously like a sandbag body with like a long oval head, triangle ears, and like little, circular-ish hands. They have really defined like features, and they're really, really simple, like fun to draw, fun to look at. I really want a keychain of one. There's one that I saw from like 1995 on eBay, but it's a little too expensive for me. I wish it was cheaper. Right up there with Blinks the Cat merch or Blinks the Time Sweeper. I don't know why I call him Blinks the Cat. It's Blinks the Time Sweeper. But yeah, I'm making a bunch of different like uh, drawings to see which ones I'm gonna use. And the trick is that I do use a majority of these on for multiple different things, but the main three that I'm going to make and use are going to be on like cards, and those cards are impressive, not impressive, but like cute. I really love the one on the top right where he looks so like mischievous, like he's up to no good. This middle one that I was making was kind of like going to be like a sock puppet version, and then I thought, wow, why not just make a woman one? Why not make a female type character? And it's very interesting how that one came out as well. It's really attractive. And then the one on the far left was supposed to be like, oh, he's getting grabbed by a claw, because they got the claw machine. So it's just a lot of you know context for certain things, but now we're like inking it. And this is before I discovered the more new method of drawing over the pencils with color pencils, which honestly doesn't look too bad. So it's something that in the future I will be doing a lot more of, because it does save me a bit of time not having to go over with the black ink, even though I do like the way it looks sometimes. But yeah, this one, the female one was supposed to be like, originally started out as like a sock puppet version, because they're like, the little green men are usually like, uh, hard plastic, and I wanted to make one that was like a little bit softer. And originally the hair, like the down parts of the hair was like the ears, but then I just decided to make it a female version because I don't think they have a female version of the little green men. And now there is one, but it wouldn't, I don't know what you would call it, like uh long pink woman, I don't know, something, long red woman. But yeah, it's a whole set of things. But this is the inks of these three, and these are the three we're going to cut out. The one in the top left middle is going to be cut out potentially, it's going to be cut out in the future because it's going to be used as a sticker or something. But we're going to trace it really fast so that I have it for later, and that is important. Also, obviously the video is sped up due to, this is like about 2 hours ish almost, and the original voiceover, the original like vocal recording, is not very like is only makes sense in context of the conversation. So I kind of just rather do this way. But I really do like the way these came out, and keeping with the tradition of doing, art every day. I'm really glad that I was able to do these, and I think that I might do more of these characters in the future. I mean, this was a lot of fun, and it was a good way to explore the ideas that came to me with them. And I really do like the way that this yellow looks, and I kind of wish I kind of just left it like that yellow. Like if you see this yellow is like really nice, but one of the things that I noticed that I like to do with coloring is I like to consistently use yellow. Yellow and blue is like peak the top of the color food chain for me. I don't know why, because it only makes green, and for some reason a lot of people don't like green, but it's really funny, And yeah, it's a amusing little set of affairs, and those are like the adopted color pencils on the left. So they're just hanging around the house and obviously just existing. And another thing too that I'm really realizing with like traditional art is that you develop a awareness that you don't really get when you do digital. And I love digital. I think that digital is probably like, number, I'd say like number one. There should be no number one, but I say digital is like much higher because the main thing is that you don't need paper, right? No mess, no cleanup, no real problems with storage to the most part, as long as you have like a storage device. You can do anything that you want. You can save all of your work before you do anything that potentially may mess it up. You can fix anything at any time. You can uh, send it to anyone immediately. You can do anything that you want with uh, digital, pretty much. But one thing that I will say, after saying all of that, one thing I will say is that I noticed that doing traditional has really opened up my mind to certain techniques and like processes that in digital I would have never thought of, because the sensation and the feeling of working with these things are very different, such as like the blending and all of those other things, and working within the confines of like, blending the color pencils is something that I'm trying to figure out how to do in digital, is like blending the color, like, I'm coloring like a color pencil, and digital I'm trying to figure out how to do that. The blender that I bought to use with the oil pastels, I used it on the pencil, and the way that it like makes the shadows thing, it made me go into the digital art program and use the blending brush to blend the other ones. And as you can see, like the top right little green man, I like did kind of like a little bit of a comic book style kind of coloring, and I really like that. As for this guy, it's gonna be kind of like normal. Um, it's almost like a little, like very like watercolory almost, very like soft, very sweet and attractive. But yeah, you just blend up the colors, because I've said this before, but it's something that I like in school. They never told us to do this. Like they never, my school, they never taught me to like, you could blend colors together. It's just like literally just paint by numbers. Put in, you put 10 colors in, you put one, if it's 10 different colors, you just put one color for each spot. You don't mix them together. At least that's not what they was doing at my school when I was growing up as a youth. So I don't know. And like now I'm messing with some of these, and it's very interesting how it comes out that way. But yeah, we got the little green men. Which one of these are your favorite? Do you like the sock puppet girl version, or do you like the little mischievous comic book looking one, or the guy looking straight up the claw? Like, which one do you like? I personally like the little mischievous one and the girl. I like all three of them. I don't really have a favorite. I just like all three. And yeah, so at this point, we will be working on doing the spray art portion. And this part was a little bit difficult because, oh, wait, so we're going to cut it out first with the gyro tool. And I love this tool. I think that is one of my favorite tools to cut things out with. And it's just a cheap one off of the internet or whatever. I used a cheap one. It did break a little bit, so it's being held together with tape at this point, and mostly because it is I try to use it to cut cardboard, and you're not supposed to use it to cut cardboard. So as you can see, we got all three of them out, and that was pretty easy, pretty painless. And now we can glue them onto these index cards or cards, so to speak. But I will not be doing that right away. Corner rounder and rounding the corners. So as you can see, they're rounded. And, do if you are watching this video, do you do art? Do you just like art videos, or do you not like art, but the algorithms recommended it to you? I don't know. If you're not a bot, put an alien emoji in the comments. Let me know. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. That is very important. But here is a portion of the time where we're like doing the initial layout of the ideas of what the background should look like. And then I like went to get a little bit of reference, but the reference was not the reference made me realize that what I was doing was wrong. So I just kind of am gonna scrap all my ideas that I had and just spray art them in the end, because there's a bit too much ideation, and you don't really need to do all of that to make a decent piece of art or a fun piece of art. And them being in the front, them being so big, I would I would need a much bigger card to do a background that would be significant to be seen. So we foregone that, and we are going to just use the Crayola spray marker gun and make the backgrounds. And the first one just going to be like blue, and then purple, and it kind of reminds you of like a wild berry pop tart. I've been watching those old re-uploads of old like TV channels and whatnot, and seeing like the old commercials. There was like a flavor to commercials, and I felt like every commercial ended the same. Like it had like a end, and I wanted to make a heart for her, but it didn't work out very well. So I just kind of try to get rid of it and just make it like a bunch of different colors. This is not much better, but we wouldn't have been able to see the heart anyway. I would have to make the heart bigger. This is why you have to plan better. And, I often just don't really plan as well as I should. And we're just going to make this one gray. And it's supposed to be like the inside of like a claw machine. Like he's the last of his kind inside the claw machine. And they're going to, get him out. But yeah, and that is done. So now we have to glue them on. And yeah, I tried to add like a shadow to his, but I don't know if it reads as a shadow. But now we have to glue them all on and break out the glue stick. For some reason, the glue stick does not work when I glue directly onto the paper. I have to like glue onto the surface. And I try to really get it to stick because I don't ever want it to lift or fall off. And I think that most of it is glued. It's definitely very interesting what went on here, but yeah, this is pretty much the ending result of everything, and things are going, pretty well at this point. And I like the way they turned out. And these are the cards. So if you made this fun video, thank you, and hopefully I'll see you again in the next one. Bye.